Um, so you've done some acting, and you did it before you went into administration?
Right. I did some in college, and also, well, of course, high school, college, and community theater.
And we recently worked on a couple of projects together.
Right.
So he's a pretty good actor. Do you think that having acted before going to administration helped you in being able to take on all these roles and putting on all these hats?
Oh, absolutely. Just being comfortable in front of a group of people. You know, I do a monthly employee orientation where I may have 50 to 100 new hires that we're bringing in. I have grand rounds every Friday where I'm going to walk through the facility and probably meet 900 people in a day. So I have to put on a lot of different hats. I had to have kind of my game face on, and I had to be ready to take on whatever task was before me. But with grand rounds, we went and we looked at, we'd take a section of the hospital and we would look at, every patient. We'd meet every family member that was there. We'd talk to them about their concerns, about what was going on, what kind of job we were doing. Could we do a better job? What was it they needed from us?
So just like us in acting, you have to, as soon as you stepped into the hospital, it's like us stepping on the set, you have to be ready to take on, command attention, be comfortable in front of a large group of people,
right?
Know your script, but be able to improvise. Let's see, what else? What other similarities could you see?
Well, just being able to shift gears and put on different hats. It's like I was one person with a group of employees. In the sense, as an administrator, my role was very different than if I were interviewing a director of medicine, a new medical director, for example, for the hospital, or if I were with a group of vendors, for example, a pharmaceutical company that was trying to bring a new product into the facility. I had a whole different set of rules and things that I had to work with, constraints. So I was different. It wasn't that I was being, disingenuous with anyone. It's just that I had a different role that I had to play.
Which were all real to you. They were all.
Oh, they were all very real roles.
So see, guys, that's kind of like when we do when you're acting. If you go on for one specific role, yes, you're going for that role, but you have to determine everything that engulfs that character, everything that about it. You're not just one dimension. There's all these different dimensions to a character. So similarities between my taking on a particular character and Bob walking in as administrator, you have to be prepared for everything. You can't just assume that you know exactly how your day is going to go or how the shoot is going to go, because it's not always going to work out that way. So command attention, be prepared for the unexpected.
Right, and you can also be prepared with what you know works. It's not like there's only so many scenarios that can play out. If I'm negotiating a contract with a pharmaceutical company, I know what my objectives and my goals are, and I know what I need to get out of them in order to make the contract work in my favor. It's a whole different scenario if I'm dealing with a grieving family member or family who had an unexpected death in the facility the night before.
Well, let's touch a little bit before we run out of time. How important is it to maintain yourself when you're talking to a grieving family, to not break down yourself and find those emotions?
Well, it's being called empathetic rather than sympathetic. I have to have feelings for them in their situation, but I couldn't get wrapped up in their own grief, because then I'd be ineffective at doing what I did best.
Okay. So see, guys, you have to listen, pay attention, be prepared for the unexpected, command attention, be ready to put on all different kinds of hats. And even if the situation calls on the set where the other person has to break down and totally cry, and your role doesn't, you have to maintain yourself. So any other pointers that you want to tell the guys out there, anybody who's out there watching and says, I could not be an actor, I work in a hospital?
I think we're all actors. I think we all do it, whether you're the guy at the drive-up window at the fast food place in the morning who's asking, do you want fries with that? That's a certain act that you're doing. Or you're the President of the United States. You're getting up there and presenting yourself or presenting an office or a role. in any job that we do. And I think the more prepared you are, the more comfortable you are in front of people, with people, and the more genuine you are with that, then the easier it's going to be and the more effective you're going to be.
And would you suggest to somebody who's taking on an important role like administrator to maybe look into an acting class or a speaking class?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Public speaking, a speech class, an acting class, anything that gets you in front of the public, anything that prepares you for the unexpected, so that you can be a spokesperson, so that you can, be able to have a command of the language and be able to get across your ideas. For example, in an emergency situation, I had to put on a whole different hat, and I had to take a very authoritarian role, and I had to be, not only compassionate to the situation, but I also had to be someone who was an authority in that situation, and then people had to believe that role. Otherwise, they weren't going to follow my lead and do the things that were necessary to get us through that emergency.
So somebody who's in that kind of role where they have to demand attention, but don't have the self-confidence to pull it off, they're not
very difficult. They would not be very effective at all.
Cool. So there you go, guys. If you're out there and you work in a hospital and you're moving up, or in any administration, and you're moving up in roles and you're going to be the person to go to, you need to know how to command that attention, which us as actors have to do. If you're not believing me in my acting that I am that person, you're not going to keep watching. So the same thing for people in important roles in any administration. If I don't believe that you are that person, that you are commanding the attention, and you can lead me through any disastrous situation, whether it be an air conditioning falling from the ceiling or a pair of socks lost in the laundry, then you're not going to do your job properly. Any last pointers you want to give out?
I think it's just imperative, no matter what job you're doing in life, to have some acting skills, some improv skills possibly, and definitely some speech classes.
Cool. Well, thank you, Bob. Guys, thank you for watching. This has been the third episode of The Quest, and I'm going to continue to seek out more friends who work outside of show business and find out how the similarities are between their jobs and acting. So stay tuned for episode number 4.